5 photographers and the assignment of a lifetime. A journey into the unknown to the islands around Africa. Over the islands of Africa. Zanzibar. A dhow plies the waters off Zanzibar. The name alone conjures up thoughts of spices and the tales of 1,001 nights. On board is the photographer Matthias Ziegler. He wants nothing less than to capture the soul of Zanzibar.
And I really like the face of this lady. And do you think you could ask her if I can make one picture of her?
Biki Dude. Straighten up. He wants to take your picture.
Yeah? That's very nice. Thanks very much.
Matthias has traveled all over the world for international photo agencies. His specialty is portraits. His task now is to take pictures for a photo book about Zanzibar, the archipelago off the coast of East Africa.
That's a warrior? Same thing. No.
He won't be traveling alone. The second man is Englishman Richard Meredith Hardy. With his Fib, a flying inflatable boat, he can reach even the most remote locations. He can land on land or on water, in theory.
Report position.
India 8731, I'm southeast of you and estimate overhead 30.
730, leaving 5 good. Stand up level 150.
Planes from all over the world have landed at Zanzibar International Airport. A flying boat, however, is a novelty.
Is the on phone or 18?
At 15 knots, the wind speed is testing the Fib's limits. And that's not all. As he approaches the runway, the front wheel refuses to lock in place.
India X731 Zanzibar. I seem to have a problem with my nose wheel. It won't go down. I'm going to have to go and land it on the water at Chumbe.
Richard opts for a water landing off the nearby island of Chumbe. At the harbor in Zanzibar's capital, Stone Town, the old woman says goodbye with a love song. Such spontaneous encounters are more important to him than any travel guide. The German photographer has been on the move for 20 years and has visited nearly every country in Africa. At the start of a trip, he says, you have to be completely empty, like unexposed film. Zanzibar was once a trading post for slaves and ivory. Down the centuries, the island attracted Chinese, Portuguese, and Arabs. Even today, Stone Town remains an important trade center in East Africa. The pace of life in the city is a little slower during the Islamic month of fasting, Ramadan. Matthias meets fellow photographer Jafed Jafari, who gives him a tour of the old city. For Javed, the island's greatest treasures are not its picturesque beaches.
The people of Zanzibar, that's something unique. We have a culture, we have color, we have the people, we have the Swahili, we have the Arabs. That is what is unique for me. You know, you will see beautiful women wearing kangas, the wraparounds, which is a very traditional.
Right.
And the people are friendly. This is what is special to me, and I think is special to everyone who visits.
Yeah, you're right. That's what I felt already, because it's very open.
Ever since Zanzibar was conquered by the Arabs in the 10th century, some 90% of the population has been Muslim. But beneath the surface, African religions have survived.
As Livingstone said, nothing is what it seems in Zanzibar. People believe in spirits, people believe in black magic, people believe in shaitanis. If they cannot find a solution, they will go to a witch doctor who would give him ideas, would give him suggestions what to do. It's a very spiritual society.
Due to Richard's landing problems, the first meeting with Matthias has been postponed. Richard is an old hand at flying microlights. He once flew from London to Australia, another time over Mount Everest, but the FIB presents new challenges.
You have to treat it as though you're being a bit of a truck driver and think way further ahead than, because if you suddenly see trouble coming, like there's a tree rushing towards you, then with the normal aeroplanes we fly, you just put on full power and you'll climb like hell and be away from it. This thing, you put on full power and nothing much happens.
On the approach to Chumbe, Richard has his hands full. Coastal areas are notorious for unexpected turbulence. Richard has to land flying into the wind. A tailwind could easily upset the aircraft. Chumbe Island. This tiny protected coral island will be the starting point of their journey of exploration. Richard and Matthias are meeting for the first time. Their task, to discover Zanzibar's soul for a photo book, will take them to the remotest corners of the archipelago.
You put your stripe back, then slowly you put and you cover your face together with your nose.
You understand?
When you put there, it is
The first motif, swimming lessons for Muslim schoolgirls. They live on an island in the Indian Ocean, but most of them can't swim. A job for park ranger Hamisi.
Look how I open my mouth as if I was standing before a beautiful woman. So always keep your mouth closed.
Now, we are repeating again, but using what? A pipe.
Open your mouths wide. You see? I brushed my teeth this morning. Are you getting air? In and out. If you only exhale, you won't get any air in your brain, and you'll die.
Now let's go in the
After their instruction on land, the girls move into the water.
You need piga magoti.
Kneel down.
Usimkamate mwenzako, usipige kelele. Piga magoti.
Don't hold on to your friend. Just kneel down. Easy does it, sister. If you laugh, you get water in your mouth.
Phase 3, the big moment. Protected by a life ring, the girls are introduced to another world.
Mambo mengi na hasa kilichonifurahisha ni zile coral reefs.
I loved it. I would do it again, anytime. What I liked most were the coral reefs. I'd never seen them. I didn't know that the ocean was like a beautiful garden.
Although he specializes in portraits of people, Matthias can't resist delving deeper into the underwater world. At first glance, it looks like an oil slick, but in fact, it's a school of sardines looking for food in the lagoon. The spectacle attracts not only the photographer, but also reef sharks. In the shallow water, Matthias can't see the sharks, but Richard and Hamisi keep watch from above.
You're very near to him. You see?
Oh yeah, yes, one just here. Just on your left! Just there!
Yes, yes, on your left.
Just here!
Left side.
Left side!
Yeah, yeah, there.
Oh yes, behind you, yeah. One behind you!
Matthias is nervous, but Hamisi has faith in the harmony of nature.
This area is protected. Juvenile shark like there are many.
Yeah.
But in the other area, because fishermen always they are netting them,
yeah.
so they are fishing in tons.
Yeah, no, this is amazing. I've not seen anything like this.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So here they are free, they are happy.
Yeah.
No one hurts them.
Yeah. Yeah, and it is amazing how the sharks go through the middle, and the space opens like sort of magic as they go through.
You can be very near. It is not biting. Very, very friendly.
Yeah, no.
Yes, yes. No biting.
They can come and kiss you.
I think that's an interesting thing.
This one piece will make 52 layers.
Watch on mobile devices or the big screen. All for free. No subscription required.
The next destination in their adventure is Nungwi, a fishing village at the northern tip of Zanzibar. It will be Matthias' first flight with a flying boat.
What's my part of the co-pilot?
Okay, well, there are two things you must do. Okay, the first one is when we are taking off, you have to lean out.
To lean out?
Lean out. The engine makes it tip to the left side, and we want it to be level as possible.
Okay.
Then the second thing, you must not do not ever throw anything into the propeller. If you throw your camera or I don't know, some small thing into the propeller, it explodes and
Also no luck.
we'll go like this. Bits fly everywhere. It won't come to us, but it might make a hole in the boat. But the main thing is that it can be that the engine can jump off.
Okay.
Do not throw anything into the propeller. This is the worst thing you can do.
Yeah.
The next morning, they're ready to go.
You can hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Lift up. Okay, so you ready?
I am ready.
No loose things?
No, everything's strapped.
Okay, so we must lean out to the right a lot, okay?
Okay.
You ready?
Ready.
Let's go. Right, lean. Come on! Okay. We were going crosswind. We were wrong on the wind. But we did it.
Nice and gentle. Thanks very much.
It's a good 60 kilometers to Nungwi. The Fib soars over the lagoons with just 64 horsepower at its disposal. Sometimes high, sometimes low.
Is this a high speed you have?
Yeah.
But the good thing, it's ecologically friendly.
No, it's not. It makes a lot of noise and eats a lot of petrol.
After an hour in the air, the Fib approaches Nungwi, but the view is anything but pristine.
There's one hotel after the other. It's unbelievable. So ugly.
Absolutely scandalous. They bring in.
You told me you have been here 10 years before and it didn't exist at all, or?
None of this was here. One or two hotels, but nothing like this.
What begins as a textbook landing nearly ends in disaster.
The reason I came a little bit fast was because the throttle was a little bit on, so I switched it off a little bit late, and so we came careering up the beach a little bit at an angle and just tipped and everything. But I think we actually tipped when we were stopped, so there was no twisting on the wing, I don't think. So I think we're fine.
Die Landung war lustig.
The landing was interesting, let me put it that way.
Aber ansonsten hier
but it's just fantastic to fly over the island like this.
Die Leute, die da
Seeing the people and the boats,
Boote von oben, die Daus.
The dhows from above.
Und sehr spektakulär.
It's spectacular. Awesome.
Flying across Africa in the Fib evokes the early days of flight. No one here has ever seen a flying boat before. Just a stone's throw away, the people are not interested in adventurous pilots and flying photographers. The sprawling, all-inclusive resorts claim ever greater portions of the beach for themselves. Their guests seek peace and relaxation. The fishermen who live here are just props in the background. Dhows, the traditional sailboats, have been made by hand on the beach in Nungwi for centuries. Young girls fetch buckets of seawater to check the boats for leaks. The girls do not want to have their pictures taken.
No! No! Okay. Okay, no.
Overcoming people's inhibitions and refusals is a regular part of Matthias' job.
I try to approach people in an open way, maybe sit down with them or have a cup of tea, if I have the time. If that's not possible, I do take pictures covertly, but I don't really like to do it, because I generally do respect it when people say no. But to be frank, it really does have a lot to do with how important the picture is to me.
No, over here.
This motif is important to him, but there's only one way of getting the shots. A couple of boys take him to the village.
I can hear it. There's a school, huh?
The one who controls his temper in times of anger.
English class at the Quranic school in Nungwi. The young imam is not merely their instructor. Above all, he is a moral authority.
I wanted just to know if it's fine if I take pictures.
Yes.
Yes?
You can.
Because I saw already that the people are not very keen to take pictures of, and I don't want to make any mistake. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to ask if is there something I'm not allowed to do?
Yeah, it's really good advice on me that we can take a picture. As you know, sometimes the people are not fair to take a picture because a lot of guests are coming and taking pictures whereby the villagers are not fair from that. Okay. But it's really easy when you get like me, the local people, local person, then no problem.
Do you think, I mean, just if they want, if I would love to make, if I can make one picture you with two of your students.
Yes.
Because the golden is very nice on the picture. But just if she wants.
Nani ganjo? Na njoo ndugu yangu, njoo naye. He's only shy because
they know they are shy. I would be shy too.
Shy is a part of our prophet, and he said also that if somebody has got no shy,
right,
is not really has not complete belief, but shy is a part of belief, strong belief.
Now that he's in the clear, Matthias endeavors to win the girls' trust.
Oh, you can do it. How do we do it? That's a trick, yeah? That's a trick. That's a trick.
With the kids of Nungwi at least, the ice has been broken. Some boys from the village want to show the strangers something special.
You're kidding. They're huge. You can touch them? Oh, come on. You're kidding. It's one of my favorite animals in the world. They're so beautiful. Nice, huh?
Yes.
In the past, green sea turtles were hunted for their meat, and the rare loggerhead sea turtles for their shells. A few years ago, the people of Nungwi recognized that living turtles were a more sustainable source of income. Turtles that get caught in fishermen's nets are kept in natural lagoons, fed and looked after, and sometimes visitors are even allowed to swim with them.
Oh, come on, they're coming to me.
Das ist ein sehr, sehr schönes Erlebnis, weil das sind meine
This is just an amazing experience. These are my favorite animals.
Das sind so Kindheitsträume, die dann erfüllen.
It's a childhood dream come true.
Das ist das Schöne auch an dem Beruf. Weil das
and that's one of the great things about this job, because I've always wanted to swim with turtles.
Und dass die so nah und so
and they're so close and so tame.
Das ist echt wahnsinnig toll.
It's just unbelievably cool.
Bist du nicht schön?
You're so beautiful.
Around the campfire later that evening, the two men discuss the key factors in flying: wind and weather.
Can you predict like the wind if you look at the clouds, or how do you do that? Is there any
well,
chance?
you know here that the wind is always going the same way.
Okay.
Yeah, the wind in East Africa is incredibly predictable.
Oh, okay.
It just goes one way for 6 months and the other way for the other 6 months.
Are there more difficult?
And that's why, you know, the whole history of this place is associated with Oman and the Middle East, because they sailed down when the wind came down and they sailed back when the wind went up. It's all part of the sort of monsoon cycle.
The next day, they plan to take a short trip to a part of the archipelago all but untouched by tourism, the neighboring island of Pemba.
I heard that's a really like remote island, it's very traditional. They have like bullfightings. I've never heard about that.
Yeah, I didn't know anything about that.
Incredible flying foxes? Do you heard about
yeah, I've heard about the flying foxes. Yeah, they're a special species. It's not that far, 40 kilometers across the water. But we need to go. I need to go back to the main airport next to Stone Town to get permissions and that sort of thing.
So next time.
The next time, I will try not to hit the beach quite so fast.
Okay.
And you've got to hold on a bit more tightly.
Okay, that's nice. It's good advice.
The next morning, everything seems perfect. Calm seas, clear blue skies. Matthias takes advantage of the morning light to photograph a group of women fishing for squid in the lagoon. His photographer's eye prefers to see the sea of colors in black and white. But then the weather unexpectedly turns rough. Flying to Stone Town today is out of the question. To make sure things don't get even worse, they've got to pack up their equipment right away. A heavy storm could put the Fib out of action for good. And not a moment too soon. A stroke of luck. The worst of the storm moves up the coast. Nevertheless, it has left its mark on the Fib. Richard reproaches himself for his carelessness.
Microlights, when they're in the air, are in their element. When they're on the ground, they're not. So it's best to be safe, put the wing flat down on the ground, and then a hurricane can come and there will be no damage. But we left it up, ready to go, being lazy, and this storm came and caught us out. But the only damage seems to be to the equipment we used to de-rig it rather than the actual wing. So I hope we'll be back in action tomorrow as usual.
Again, they're forced to change plans. While Richard repairs the Fib, Matthias makes his way to Stone Town in search of motifs beyond the splendid beaches. In the island's interior, many villages seem stuck in a time warp. A condition that remained unchanged even by the socialist revolution of 1964. African putschists drove out the Arab ruling class, and the people hoped in vain for running water, schools, and hospitals. Instead, East Germany sent city planners. They erected Soviet-style apartment blocks that residents soon dubbed Berlin. But the socialist utopia failed to come to fruition. What remained was moldering concrete under palm trees. Today, Zanzibar faces a serious rubbish problem. In the outlying suburbs, massive dumps smolder and pollute the air. Plastic trash, the scourge of Africa, disfigures the backside of the postcard pictures. But for Matthias, it's every bit as important.
This is the
contrast to what you usually see, the blue water, the colorful clothes, the friendly people. But in Zanzibar you have this other reality, and I think this is what it's like for most of the people, and that's why I'm looking at both parts.
With just a few days to go before the end of the month of Ramadan, the anticipation is palpable in Stone Town's old city. Everywhere preparations for the Eid festival are underway. The alleyways are thick with the smells of fresh food. Matthias follows his nose. In the bakery, too, they're working overtime. Normally, they would bake 100 loaves a day. Now, it's thousands. Matthias has hit the jackpot.
I'll show you the picture. Wait. It'll take a lot of pictures. It's very beautiful, yeah. It's nice, huh?
You're very muscular. Das ist mein Licht. Also das ist halt
That's my kind of light. It's really a photographer's dream in there. You can't go wrong. The way the sweat glistens, the way the light is, it's just fantastic. Nice people who don't mind being photographed. Really nice.
But it's very good. It's very, very good for Asante.
Slave Island, Sultanate, and Socialist People's Republic. Zanzibar has had a tumultuous history. What remains is the call of the muezzin. They sing at family celebrations, or they come to appease the spirits when someone is possessed. Every evening after prayers, the Sufi ensemble Maulidi Yahomu meets in a Quranic school in the Mendeni district. They praise Allah and the Prophet Muhammad. But Maulidi Yahomu is not a religious practice. They are not allowed to sing in mosques. Barua, the leader of the group, gathers the youths to keep them away from bad influences, like movies, for example, or hip-hop, or the internet. The aim is to develop a strong character.
Maulidi is above all about being joyful. The singer must experience joy. That's the key. It's also called Maulidi of peace, and peace is itself a kind of joy.
Joyful trance through connection to God. Matthias tries to capture the singer's bliss in pictures. The next morning, at last, the journey to Pemba is set to begin. The fib has been repaired, and all the permits have been obtained. Matthias mounts his cameras, and Richard has filled up the fib's tank for the 100-kilometer flight.
Clear prop, clear prop. Good morning, Zanzibar Tower. This is India 8731.
India 8731, Zanzibar.
India 8731, taxiing now, and I'll hold at the 18 entrance.
Confirm for survey or for photograph?
Affirm for photograph.
Okay, stand by. You see, there must be a permit from Zanzibar Authority. Is that Zanzibar Aviation Authority? Do you have it?
Affirm, we've got every possible permit.
Okay, but if I've been told that you are not allowed, I don't know what permit you have.
Okay, we'll bring you all our papers. Shutting down, thank you.
The official is taking no chances. He wants to see the papers a second time. The two are running out of time.
All of time. The wind is getting stronger, the light is getting less good. And
we're losing the light probably, yeah.
Yeah. So, but it's Africa. Yeah. Hurry up and wait.
That's true, yeah.
Finally, around noon, much too late actually, the two are allowed to take off.
Unbelievable, we are going.
As soon as they're up in the air, Richard again heads for the northern tip of Zanzibar. He wants to skirt the coast as long as possible. After about an hour, they are again over Nungwi, but this time 40 kilometers over the open sea awaits them.
In which direction we have to go? This way? This way.
Okay, I can't see anything actually, just water.
40 minutes to cross the water.
I actually totally scared about deep water. I mean, I hate what's swimming around there. And you can't see.
Yeah.
Would be a nightmare for me. In case, which was the shark repellent? The golden one, eh?
Yeah.
Just 10 nautical miles from the coast, a storm is brewing.
It's a kind of a squall line. I actually don't like the look of it very much. I think you'll find it being very rough inside going through that. Feel the change in temperature?
It's amazing, yeah.
Als dann diese Wand immer näher kam und Richard
This front kept getting closer and closer, and Richard kept looking to the right and to the left, and then it became more and more. And then the temperature just dropped like a rock. To the right and left of us it was pouring. You couldn't see 10 meters in either direction. I did feel frightened then. A little bit.
We get wetter, probably.
Yeah, I was wondering if to go through there. Just hope that it ends. There was a hole in it, quite a big hole, and there was no sign of gusts on the water, so we sneaked through. We got a little bit of a splattering of rain, but sneaked through it.
At last, the shores of Pemba.
There's an unbelievable number of people on there. Yeah.
The fishing village of Tumbi. They've come to the beach in their hundreds. They've never seen a flying boat. Soon they've come up with a name for the strange pilot. Richard is now known as Vasco da Gama, after the discoverer who made landfall here in 1498.
This is absolutely amazing, and I'm happy that people seem to be happy that something really strange has come. And it makes your job as a photographer much easier, because now you are a hero.
That's absolutely right, yeah. It's the first time I feel like a pop star. Next life I've become a pop star.
Interest in the strangers who fell from the sky fades quickly. Fish is a perishable good, and here the fish is not sold but auctioned off. Abdul, the most important man in town, leads the auction. His word is law. Abdul knows that strangers don't always come as friends. It's always been that way.
Do you think he would have like 5-10 minutes to talk to me?
Luckily, Matthias finds Eddie, who translates for him.
Fish market.
In polite but no uncertain terms, Abdul lets the stranger know who's in charge.
We inherited this coast from our ancestors, this very coast. Do you hear? We inherited it from our ancestors.
Then Abdul has a question.
Here's a question.
Yes.
This guy.
Yeah, of course.
You allow the question?
He can ask me everything what he wants, really, definitely.
He said
I'm
that
happy that he can...
Here he has a only small boat. He said, are you going to your government to send like maybe in Tumbe 3 boats, 4 boats to help just for fishing people in Tumbe?
If I would be in the position to do this, I would be totally appreciate to help him. But unfortunately, I'm not very important person in Germany. I think nobody will listen to me.
Let me answer. Anasema kwa
Of all the islands in the archipelago, Pemba has the fewest visitors. In some places, people have only ever seen Muzungu, the white man, on television. Matias goes off on his own, hunting and gathering, as he calls it. In the first village, the people keep their distance. No one wants to be photographed. He doesn't know whether they're just shy or afraid. Even the village chief, the Honorable Mr. Kizenda, can't help him. When they approach, everywhere the doors close. It's not just the fear that the camera will steal their souls. The brutal Portuguese colonial masters all had light skin, as did the Arab despots who enslaved the people.
People in the village, for them it's something new. It's the first time they've seen a Muzungu.
They think you are dangerous.
Yes, dangerous.
They don't see that the Muzungus are like us.
Maybe they even want to help us, but we don't want it.
Because we're afraid.
They say that there was a time when the Muzungu came and caught some people and then ran away.
The harbor in Wete is not only the main port for goods from the mainland. It is also a sanctuary for a very rare species that only exists in Pemba. Conservationist Fatuma has dedicated her life to the protection of Pemba's flying foxes. To see them, you have to come just before dusk, before they disappear into the night.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
I've never seen so many around.
Yeah, it's amazing.
I heard before I came here that they were really nearly gone. You didn't have any more. Is that right?
Yeah, during 80s, the population goes down to like hundreds.
What happened? Why? What was the reason? Was this a sickness or?
In Zanzibar, we have a problem of poverty. Right. The local people, they used to hunt and eat as a food.
As food.
It's a very palatable, more than chicken.
It's very good food?
Yeah, it's a very good food. That's why people are eating, and it's very easy to be taken by their enemies.
Yeah, I heard if you shoot one, they all fall down. They let them go. Is that right?
You know, it's like when you got a shotgun, when you shoot, it's like, because they stay like a bunch.
Right.
They are together. Yes. And if you target one, you may go more than 20.
The oil of the flying fox is said to possess curative powers and is used as a treatment for pneumonia. But the popos, as bats are known in Swahili, are also associated with an evil spirit, Popo Bawa.
It was like 10 years, more than 10 years past. People had a problem of something like magic problem.
Right.
There was it's associated with something like a satans. They come to their house, like it is like people. When you wake up at your house at night, you could just find a half part of the body, maybe just this part.
This is scary thing.
Part, or this part, leg part.
And
when you see that part, it could go even to the fridge or whatever. They get your food and eat. And you could not see at the time where they escape.
It's not only the contents of refrigerators that Popo Bawa is said to eat, but also humans. In 1970, he visited Pemba. In 2007, he came to Dar es Salaam on the mainland. In 1995, mass panic broke out in Stone Town when a one-eyed bat-like creature was said to have attacked residents in their sleep. The people fled from their houses and gathered around bonfires at night. Then, Popo Bawa disappeared as suddenly as he had arrived, but his legend lives on in the minds of the people. Once, impenetrable rainforests covered all of Pemba. Today, little remains. The Great Deforestation began in the 17th century when the Omanis overthrew Portuguese rule. The Sultan of Oman ordered every inhabitant of Pemba to plant a clove tree. Today, Zanzibar owes its reputation as the world's foremost producer of cloves to its sister island of Pemba.
The old man is harvesting cloves. As you know, we are in clove season.
Visiting a small plantation, Matthias' translator Eddie introduces him to Aladi, the proud owner of 15 trees.
Okay.
Is he harvesting now?
Yeah, he's harvesting.
Can I try?
Yeah.
Can I try? Yeah. Huh?
Oh. Mzee, vipi karafuu unaonaje mara hizi mazaliwa nyingi?
Kiasi tu, karafuu bado midogo hii.
Endelea kuchuma,
Hii nakushaanza kuchuma safari ya pili.
Pemba's tropical climate produces especially large cloves of outstanding quality. The essence of Pemba cloves is exported all over the world. Aladi cycles over 30 kilometers a day. That keeps him fit. He has outlived each of his 8 wives. His 15 kids, more or less, as he puts it, live here, there, and everywhere. He lives alone. Meanwhile, he's 102 years old. He writes his birth year of 1908 on the table and shares the secret of his longevity.
1908. It's because I always eat well, but in moderation.
When he is so old, he saw a lot of changes in Pemba. Like when he was a kid, there were no cars, probably no telephones. And what are the biggest changes for him?
Before, there were no telephones. What did we have? We had letters. We wrote letters. Then there was the telephone, which you hold to your ear.
Asante sana. I hope.
At the end, Matthias asks him the secret to his happiness.
First, you have to love people. And your mind must be calm and easygoing. And you must not covet what another man has. This is how to be happy, and you'll have no problems.
He's a very wise man. Asante sana. It's very nice. Thank you. Auf Pemba, das ist so ursprünglich, das ist sehr selten in Afrika noch.
Pemba is so natural. It's a rare thing in Africa today.
Erstens freundlich sind,
to find a place like this where the people are so friendly, so open. It's an extremely safe place by African standards. It's such a beautiful place that hasn't really been discovered, and there's so much more I would like to do here.
The people clap and stomp to drive the bull into a frenzy. It's not easy to rile up a zebu. They have come to Chuale from far and wide.
Is this the worst one, Eddie?
Yeah.
That's the bad one. Okay.
Ordinarily calm animals, the zebus haven't eaten in days. Their mood, understandably, is less than genial. The drumming and the tooting do the rest. Eventually, they attack. Bullfighting in Pemba is more a test of nerves for young men than a life and death battle. The Portuguese introduced the practice in the 17th century.
Portuguese here, they went to church in the morning and wondered what they were going to do in the afternoon, so they came. They introduced bullfighting for a bit of entertainment, and this is, some hundreds of years later, it's been remembered.
They would have liked to stay longer, but their trip is coming to an end. They've covered hundreds of kilometers by land, by sea, and in the air, snapping thousands of pictures along the way. Only a few of them will eventually make it into the photo book about the islands around Africa. But Richard is convinced that their trip has been a success.
Well, I think now a Zanzibari is a very sort of proud person. And there's a difference between a tourist taking a photo of a market or something and trying to really capture something which is the essence of somebody. And I think that Matthias has managed to do that quite well.
They spend their last evening together at the Eid festival in Stone Town, the celebration marking the end of the month of Ramadan. Alongside camel rides, the biggest attraction is the photographer's hut. Those who can afford it have a picture taken of themselves for posterity.
Which one?
That's what photography is really all about.
Up here?
To remember how things were once upon a time.
Like this?
Five photographers and the assignment of a lifetime. A journey into the unknown to the islands around Africa. Over the islands of Africa. Madagascar.
Wow.
So, merci.
How are you?
Fine, how are you? Good.
Are you ready to fly?
I'm very ready.
Come in. Okay, one door is out.
Fantastic.
And you can sit here.
Uh-huh.
We will close this door.
Yeah, let me just see.
You close your seat belt.
Okay. And maybe it's okay if I keep, like one leg out so I can get a better angle. It's okay?
It's very windy. We will try. Why not?
Okay,
Why
we'll
not?
try. If it's dangerous, we can switch.
Oh, you will understand very quickly.
Quickly,
if it's
what's
dangerous, of
possible.
course.
Okay.
Amy Vitale has visited over 75 countries working as a photojournalist for international newspapers and agencies. Her photographs have been shown in museums and galleries and published by magazines such as National Geographic, Time, Newsweek, and Geo. Now, Amy is beginning a very special adventure. In Madagascar, she'll be working on a photo book about the islands around Africa. It's not just beautiful pictures she's after. Amy wants to learn something about the lives of the people and explore what it means to be Malagasy. Amy's work has often taken her to the world's conflict zones and remote, inaccessible places. Women are still a minority in this profession.
As a woman traveling and taking pictures, the interesting thing is I feel safer in many ways as a woman, because in so many cultures, there's so much respect. And there's some doors that are closed to me, being a woman, and I respect that. But then there's other doors that open that, you know, very often I have access to the most incredible things that, you know, people aren't afraid of me. And I think that's an important piece.
Amy begins her journey in the northwest on the tropical island of Nosy Be. Once a hideout for pirates, today the island's consistently warm weather draws tourists. She's arranged to meet the skipper of a boat that will take her to a remote group of islands at the beach in Madirorkiri.
Hello, Amy. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Oh, toi.
Nicolas Quen was born in Madagascar and knows the Northwest like the back of his hand. He speaks Malagasy fluently and is well acquainted with the mentality of the people.
The white part is the sea, huh? The gray one is the land.
Yes.
Nosy Be is here. We are here. And we will go in this part of Madagascar. It's the kingdom of Momad, the name, the king. In Madagascar we have many kings, but I think it's the last king really free and really different and real. In this part you have no road, no access. Every people stay in the island, near the coast. It's very authentic, traditional for the Sakalav tradition.
You know, one thing I want to say, for what I'm doing with photography, I rather spend, you know, more time in one place than go out and do everything on the surface. Because I find when I spend a lot of time, start to meet the people and they open up to you.
Yes.
The beach in front of Nicolas' house is a meeting place for locals. They come together to play music, gossip, and have spur-of-the-moment parties. A few meters away, zebus are driven into the shallow seawater to fight parasites. Zebus are the most important productive livestock in the country and a status symbol. A man's wealth is measured by the number of zebus he owns. The zebu bath is exactly the kind of scene Amy's after. In a quarter of an hour, she shoots hundreds of pictures.
I'm looking for a good moment, a moment where maybe the subject is not totally aware of you. And I think there's a sequence here. You can start to see there's a moment developing. He's completely, you know, he notices me in some of the frames, and then he has to pay attention to a zebu. You know, it takes work. I think some people think that you just come and take a couple of pictures. I really work situations. So you can see there's a lot of mistakes. But you know, you shouldn't be afraid to take a lot of bad pictures, because that's how you get to one good one. That's all you need, just one good picture. So, Kevin.
For Amy, perfect shots of interesting motifs are not enough. She's interested in having an exchange with people. The children have never seen pictures of themselves before. That time stand still in photographs is new to them.
You sense a spontaneity of life. People are not thinking, you know, planning a year in advance. They're thinking about today. And that's an amazing thing, actually, to be in a culture where it really is, everything is the moment today.
Early the next morning, Amy and Nicolas set sail. With a crew of 5, they'll be on the move for a week, without electricity, running water, or mobile phone reception. Nicolas' dhow, a type of ship of Arabic origin, has a small draft, perfect for the shallow waters off Nosy Bay. The extreme northwest of Madagascar is an out-of-the-way place. Travel is only possible by water. There are no roads into the interior. Nicolas suspects that East Africa's modern pirates sometimes hide out here. Tourists are seldom seen. For Amy, it is precisely this unknown quality that intrigues her, though it's not without its drawbacks. There's no refrigerator on board. They have to get fresh food every day.
Oh, let's go see him.
Oh, there's the Meru. It's huge. Tell me, what do you want? My friend, how much is that? The one with a big stomach.
Do you want it per kilogram?
Yes, per kilogram.
We don't have a scale.
We don't have a scale, but we have our eyes. That one is too big.
Do you want the smaller one? I'll give it to you for 8,000 ariary. Deal.
You ripped me off, but it's fine.
No, I didn't do that.
Oh, okay. Thanks.
Thank you too. And what about this one?
No, it's too much. Hey, you want to marry a foreigner?
Can she? Is she your sister?
He said that you can go with him. He's very happy. Say,
Nice.
he said thanks for you.
Oh.
Yes, thanks.
Thank you.
You're lucky.
Merci.
They follow the coast southward, en route to the Ile Adam. After 5 hours at sea, they reach the realm of the Sakalava. The people of the Sakalava culture live isolated from the modern world and live by their own rules. Before going ashore, Nicolas explains their greeting ritual to Amy.
I tell you Bonatsar, and you tell me Bonatsar Narokwa.
Bonatsar Narokwa.
Tsari.
Tsari.
And you asked me in Vovo.
In Vovo.
Which news?
Ah.
No news. If I've news, no news. No news. Oh. Which movement? You told me. In Marisaka.
In Marisaka.
Tis Marisaka. No movement. And now I can explain to you that I have big problem, because my board is on the rocks and please, for example. Right. But before, you must say everything. It's a ritual. Something like this. On y va, Claude. Allez, Pascal. Et un autre, Scandella.
Amy has often found that doing some preparation can make the first encounter with locals much easier. Armed with her newly acquired phrases, Amy makes her first attempt at connecting with the villagers.
Sare. Zizi Bobo. Animalia.
What is there to eat?
Saka.
Her first try is a bit of a flop, but it lightens things up all the same.
What are you going to ask?
I'm gonna ask first. Izani anara no. Marin? I really don't like coming in and taking pictures immediately. So as I go into this village, you know, my first thing is to go and talk to people and ask permission. Is it okay that I'm here, and explain what I'm doing so they understand why. I think it's very important to have a meaning and a purpose.
The Sakalava do everything by hand. Tending to the household chores defines their daily lives. What may appear idyllic is in fact hard work. Amy wants more than just a romantic image. She wants her pictures to show the perspective of the people she photographs.
Can I try? Okay, so...
She can't do it. She's too weak.
Okay. She's like, don't do any more. Okay.
But it's really hard.
Oh.
She should just start walking to the village.
Walk?
Yes, just start walking.
Something that you must do, just don't move and walking. She say just walking.
Cool and
you walk.
flexible.
She thinks that every people walks like that. Every people.
I have a feeling I'm going to be completely drenched by the time we get to the village. And we'll have about 2 drops left. It's raining for me everywhere. You know, I'm just doing this for one moment. And she has to do this many times every day. And you realize a huge part of their lives are just gathering water. So it's gonna make me think when I take showers and let that water go for a long time. Let me try to carry this without the hands. This could be a disaster. Okay, yep. So the water moves, you know, so the weight changes on your head. I don't think I'm gonna do it. No, not this time.
The implements with which the Sakalava do their daily work have remained the same for generations. But even here, Western civilization has left its mark, be it in the form of children's toys or old newspapers as a kind of wallpaper. Beyond the observable world, prohibitions and taboos define life here. For strangers, they are invisible. As a Sakalava, you have to know where the sacred sites are or which areas of the coast it's better to avoid. A romantic beach may suddenly turn out to be a cemetery or a public toilet. Depending on which group one belongs to, it may be forbidden to touch a chameleon, talk about crocodiles, eat pork, or work on Thursdays.
You told me don't even push away the ravens. What other things should I know not to do? Because there's many, what do you call it? Fadi?
Oui, ici il y a beaucoup de fades, c'est-à-dire de
There are
tabous,
many fadis,
de
taboos
choses
here,
interdites par
things
la
prescribed
tradition.
by tradition.
C'est souvent des arbres sacrés.
Often
Ici,
it's sacred
il
trees.
y a un Dieu.
To contact God here,
Et pour
you have
parler à
to
Dieu,
have a sort
il
of
faut une
telephone
cabine
booth,
téléphonique
and that's the sacred
pour
trees.
rentrer en contact avec Dieu.
Or sometimes
Et il y a
rocks.
donc des arbres sacrés,
They are
des
there
arbres,
to help
souvent
one speak
des rochers
with God.
aussi. Et ça sert à parler avec Dieu.
The Malagasy say that the chameleon was sent by God to the people to proclaim their eternal life. But it was too slow. Man became mortal. The cute and harmless animals are held by the Malagasy to be harbingers of misfortune. Despite their reputation, some people even keep them in their homes to catch flies. Many Sakalava women wear elaborate face paintings. A yellow paste is made from the bark of the jacaranda tree. It also functions as a natural sun protection.
They put this because it's very good for the skin of the face, and it's more clear. And the second, it's only for beauty. It's same like every cosmetic. It's
Like people
same
do
like
their
this,
nails
yes.
and designs.
And many times you can see in the village same like this, same like we see. They make that just for
fun.
To be
it's like a beauty
nice.
Parlor.
Yes.
The Sakalava populate a large part of the west coast of Madagascar. They live from farming and fishing. To this day, their realm functions as a monarchy. The national government has little influence over local tribal politics. To everyone's surprise, King Momad has suddenly appeared in the village. He lives 10 kilometers down the coast, and from time to time he visits his subjects. An impromptu dance performance is given in his honor. As a king, he is entitled to share a bed with any of his subjects, but he does not make use of the privilege. Or so they say.
Le roi, on dit qu'il est parfumé, dans l'expression malgache.
In Malagasy, they say the king is perfumed, as with a fragrance. A person who exudes something positive. To touch him is like receiving a talisman. The king does whatever he likes and has no responsibilities. He is the only person in Sakalava society who does not grow his own rice.
His favorite hobby is photography, with a camera given to him by tourists. After the welcome dance, King Momad disappeared as quickly as he had come, before Amy had the chance to speak with him. Now she hopes to get an audience with him in his home village. She would like to take a portrait of him for her photo book. From the island of Nosi Berafia, they sail southwards. It's a 3-hour sail to the king's village of Ambatofotsi. Vast stretches of the northwestern coast are very sparsely populated. To see another boat is a rarity. Some transport wood for the construction of houses. The countless little bays provide sanctuary for native animals. Lemurs only exist in Madagascar. The island is home to over 50 different species of the prosimians. Their name comes from the Latin lemuris, spirits of the night, a moniker they earned with the blood-curdling howls they make at night. During the day, they're mostly docile. Amy and Nicolas have arranged an audience with King Muhammad. Nicolas, a longtime friend of the king's, introduces Amy according to the royal protocol. He tells the king that the stranger wants to know how a real king lives, someone from a completely different world.
So what is his daily life like? What does he do every day?
She wants to know what you do every day.
I listen to the radio and rest.
Listen radio?
Yeah.
I like to listen to the news from Antananarivo. But if something is going on in the village, I don't need the radio. Then I observe the villagers while they work.
What do you mean?
Well, I form my own views about life in the village without judging it. Otherwise, I do nothing. I just stay at home. I have no duties other than taking part in festivities.
King Muhammad lives from the cultivation of coffee, rice, and above all, pepper. But the work is done by his subjects. He and his wife are not allowed to work. He was elected king by the Council of Elders from a pool of 5 candidates.
When he discovered that he was going to be king, can he remember what that day was like? Was he excited? What was he feeling when they decided to make him king?
When they elected you king, were you happy? How did you feel?
Very surprised. Il pleurait.
He cried.
Yeah, he cried.
You cried. Why did you cry? Why did he cry?
Why?
I was afraid because of the great responsibility towards the people. I didn't know if I could live up to it. I can never show fear no matter what happens. If I could go fishing and do things like that, I think now I would be in Majunga or Nosy Bay maybe. Not only for fishing, but maybe to be a driver. Or to have fun somewhere, sailing on a boat and being the captain. I think I would rather do that than be king.
Amy was not expecting to meet a sad king who would rather live like one of his subjects.
The king is a surprise for me. It's not at all what I imagined a great African king would be. So it's wonderful. I mean, I love the fact, and so ironic, that actually it's a burden and so symbolic in many ways. The more we have, the more responsibilities, the more difficult life is.
In the king's village, Amy has a once-in-a-lifetime chance to attend a very special celebration. It's only held once every 2 years to contact their ancestors. The Malagasy exist through their ancestors. They are the ones who brought them into being. At the ritual celebration, some of the villagers go into a trance and make contact with the dead. The 25 or so trumbas, as they're known, are said to be possessed by the spirits of their forebears. They are regarded as reincarnations of the dead of the royal line and function as mediums between the human and the spirit world. Through them, the dead are always present. According to the Sakalava's beliefs, when a person dies, he ascends to higher spheres and becomes an intermediary between God and man. Amy has to walk a very fine line. She wants to get close to the people, but she doesn't want to cross any unseen boundaries.
There was a moment when I think later they explained a spirit was departing and going back. So they put a cloth around the woman and they said, don't photograph her. And so there was, there's just things of respect that you do. Just my main thing in those situations are just try to pay attention not to break any cultural rules. And it's so hard when you don't actually know what's significant to people, because the trees are, this tree may be holy, that bird may be holy. You actually don't know. So my thing is when I come into a new place to just observe as much as possible.
Amy wants to see more of Madagascar and sets off for the far north of the island. The bay of the city Antsiranana, also known as Diego. The city is the center of a gemstone boom that has attracted fortune hunters from around the country in recent years. The French colonial masters brought their architecture to the city, but the city's population is a diverse mix of ethnicities. Many hope to share in the prosperity generated by the gems. Amy is considering a story about sapphires. Her first stop is an Italian jeweler in the city center.
Look at this one. This is a stone that you can only find in this region. A star sapphire. It is polished to a cabochon. And you see? I'll shine some light on it. It forms a star.
Oh, wow.
You only have that in this region. When the stone is polished into this shape, it shows a star. You only have this in this region.
In Rogero's workshop, the raw sapphire is polished into a fine jewel. Nowadays, it is possible to produce the stones artificially in chemical labs. Even experts are hard-pressed to distinguish them from the real thing. But for the people in Diego, there is no substitute. Amy is interested in the people who work in the mines. It's not easy to get access. Foreigners are not welcome there. She meets John, a middleman for sapphires.
Everyone here works with the sapphires. Some work in mines, and others ply the business end.
Amy convinces John to take her along on his buying tour. For a small fee, he's even willing to take her to the miners. The mines are clay shafts, up to 20 meters deep, without supports.
It does look dangerous.
Time and again, workers are buried in collapsing shafts. Yet the motivation of a quick payoff is powerful. The men work at their own expense and always dig for the minerals with the highest market value. Right now, sapphires are a hot commodity. Down at the river, workers wash out the clumps of clay. The lucky ones may find a star sapphire. But it's a rare stone that fetches a good price. It's not the size, but the purity that makes the difference. For John, the middleman, today is a good day. With his torch, he winnows out the most precious stones to sell them onwards. A layperson like Amy is unable to recognize the value of the raw stones.
They are expensive.
Yeah, expensive.
Expensive.
Combien?
Combien? That's it's about 200
euros.
Yes.
For this?
Yes.
Ooh, it's amazing. But you know, I think I understand. It's really translucent. It's such a beautiful, deep color.
This dangerous job is the family's chance to climb the social ladder. Few succeed. Amy sets off for the highlands of Madagascar, in the middle of the island. Her pilot, Yves, has told her about some interesting geometric shapes engraved into the hilly landscape by a reservoir. Many landscapes in Madagascar have been changed by people. 90% of the original forested areas have been cleared for farming, logging, and the extraction of coal. This has led to one of Madagascar's greatest environmental problems: erosion. Fertile soil is picked up by the wind and blown into the sea. The animals retreat into what remains of the forests. Many species are endemic to Madagascar. They're not found anywhere else. Except for the mosquito, which transmits illnesses, almost all of Madagascar's animals are harmless to humans. Almost all. Crocodiles are found in many of Madagascar's lakes. They are sacred. In many regions, They are held to be reincarnations of ancestors and may only be hunted if they have killed a human. The slain crocodile is then given a ceremonial funeral and mourned like a deceased relative.
At first I was scared, but now I'm used to it. As long as I have my staff to protect myself, there's no problem for me.
If I run across a crocodile here in the wild, what should I do? Do I run away quickly? Do I climb a tree? What's the best thing I should do?
If you encounter a crocodile, you should get away quickly. On land, crocodiles are not very fast. Just run away.
Not far from the crocodile pool, an acting troupe prepares for a performance. The small village of Ambohitrahaba is renowned for its traditional theater. Amy would like to capture the soul of the rural area with her camera. While the actors are getting ready, Amy explores the village. She wants to show life as it really is. But it's not always easy. To her American eyes, what stands out first is the poverty, the Spartan living conditions. How does one take a picture that peeks beneath the veil of Western conceptions? Amy thinks a lot about what her pictures from other countries actually reveal.
It's very easy to come in and say, look at all those poor people. But I think you have to, kind of scratch over the surface of it. If you go and spend a lot of time and go and live with people who are impoverished, they're actually a lot richer in many ways than people with so many material things.
Before the show begins, Jean-Louis and Rada Fiarimino, the leaders of the troupe, want to show her the village in a bit more detail.
You see that tree?
The tree.
This tree only exists in Madagascar, a regal tree. The actors eat its fruit before a show to strengthen their voices.
Ils mangent les fruits de cet arbre pour avoir une voix qui porte très loin.
And many chameleons live in the tree, at least 100.
Il y en a au moins une centaine de caméléons dans cet arbre. Les jeunes,
and the kids are playing a little music there.
Comme ça.
The love of art and music is evident everywhere here. Even today, many Malagasy are illiterate, and music is a treasured form of expression.
Nous sommes dans un village et nous allons essayer de te montrer
The Malagasy know how to live. What they lack in luxury, they make up for in spirit. A zest for life is more important than wealth.
All houses in Madagascar face west because we Malagasy love the evening. When the sun sets, the light is great. Everything turns pink. We love to sit on the doorstep and tell each other stories, have a drink. We're a bit poetic. We're a people that cries easily, a people that remembers its dead.
That's great. Yeah. And what's your name?
My name is Jant.
Jant.
Yes.
My name is Amy.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Voilà,
No problem.
Okay. Okay. So.
Jans wants to show Amy a special place in the village. It looks unspectacular, but it has great significance. A sacred royal tomb. The dead are a part of daily life.
Le Malgache n'a pas peur de la mort.
The Malagasy are not afraid of death. They're not afraid to die. Actually, the Malagasy are not afraid of anything. You in the West are afraid of death, aren't you? For you, death is something terrible. We don't see it that way at all. When we sleep at night, we say that we are dead. Every time we sleep, we are dead. And when we wake up, we are alive. And we're happy with that. That's important.
The performance by the Hidagasi Theater will go on all day. The actors are amateurs, simple village people. They ask Amy to accompany the performance with her camera.
Everybody listen up. Sit over there instead. You'll be in the shade. We'll begin a bit earlier today.
Hiragase deals with current issues. Few people have televisions. The theater delivers news and entertainment.
God be with us. Ready? Let's go.
The first act deals with malaria prevention. The villain in the story is Mr. Mosquito, a character best avoided. The educational play gives practical tips about protecting against mosquitoes.
Oh, people! He'll drink all your blood and give you malaria. And if you get the illness, it will knock you out. Use the insecticides you all know. Tomato leaves or eucalyptus, or squash it dead.
Later on, the play takes on food prices, love, contraception, and medical treatment. The musical tales often carry a simple, clear message. Even politically sensitive issues are fair game in Hiragasi. Humor is important to the Malagasy. They love jokes and irony.
It's so beautiful to see in a time when we're such a globalized culture and everybody's watching television, to see how important theater is to the people. It's so much alive here, and I love that it's appreciated and valued.
Amy's tour ends in the capital, Antananarivo, or Tana for short. Its name means City of the Thousand. The hilly metropolis is home to a mix of all the ethnicities that make up Madagascar. The city is the distillation of all the island stands for. Nearly 2 million people live in and around the city. One of the best-known personalities in Tana is the musician Rajeri. He shows Amy his city, a city whose history is rife with the stories of conflict between the different ethnic groups.
There was a king whose name was Andrian Ampoini Marina. He had a wife on each of the 12 hills. He married one woman from each of the hills to unite the different tribes. In this way, he made peace between the rival tribes.
There are many hills around Tana. The magical number of 12 has symbolic significance. The land around the capital is the rice basket of Madagascar. Its inhabitants are a mix of people of African and Asian origin. Rogeri wants to tell Amy more about the Malagasy. His tour of Tana begins at the market, with its impressive array of the country's specialties: vanilla, pepper, exotic spices. The next stop is a cultural center, advertising a concert by Rogeri's band. He has taken his music to every continent. When he was just 11 months old, Rogeri lost his right hand after eating contaminated meat, so he was told. Despite his handicap, he is regarded as the world's most innovative player of the valia, his favorite instrument.
I saw my brother play the instrument, and I was fascinated by the shape and the sound. At the beginning, I didn't let anyone see me because I was so ashamed. I didn't want anyone to see me, so I practiced in secret. I sometimes bled when I practiced. It was painful, but I was determined to play this instrument. There were all these problems, but I thought perhaps my handicap can be an opportunity too, if I accept it. All Malagasy love this instrument. Whenever someone talks about the valia, they're also talking about Madagascar. It has a soft sound, not aggressive. And it flows right into your body.
Oh, you make me cry. That's so beautiful.
Amy's trip is coming to an end. Madagascar is a country that it takes a long time to know, not only because of its size, mainly because of its uniqueness. For Amy, who has taken thousands of photographs along the way, it was certainly not her last visit.
I feel hungrier than when I first arrived because I know that I just scratched the surface and I sort of smelled a little bit of what the life is here. I spent about 4 weeks here and it wasn't enough. I think you can spend your whole lifetime here and still just scratch the surface because it's deep and rich and complex here.
Five photographers and the assignment of a lifetime. A journey into the unknown to the islands around Africa. Over the islands of Africa. Cape Verde.
Welcome, dear listeners. This is Radio Cabo Verde. Today's guest is the photographer, Stefan. What are you doing here?
Le but est de faire un livre.
I'm working on a photo book in which I want to reflect the souls of the people and the landscapes. An important project for you. Yes, very. It has a lot to do with my childhood. I was born on an island and grew up in Africa, so it has emotional significance for me. And I want to examine this feeling on my journey.
Good luck, and eat plenty of fish.
Yes, I will.
My name is Richard Meredith Hardy, and I've been flying microlights for 26 years. The microlight we're using here in Cabo Verde is a fib, which is a flying inflatable boat. It does lots of different things, and none of them terribly well, but it's unique in what it does do.
Good morning, Praia Tower. This is India 8731.
At the airport on the island's capital, Praia. Richard has traveled halfway around the world like this. He's used to the reaction when he appears in his mini airplane. Since flying over Mount Everest, he's known as the most fearless ultralight pilot in the world.
Good morning. How are you?
Airport operation.
Thank you.
Welcome
Hello.
to Praia.
How do you do? This is an amphib, so it's a flying inflatable boat, and it's an amphibian one as well, so it has wheels.
Okay. What's the purpose of your staying here?
We are coming to explore the beautiful Cape Verde Islands. Yes.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
Richard knows that the paperwork can take a while. The fib does not fit into any category of civil aviation, but Richard has got his mini airplane through customs in many countries. This is his first time on Cape Verde.
My job here is to give Stefan an aerial perspective of Cape Verde Islands, and they are very spectacular from an aerial point of view.
Hey!
How are you?
Richard, how are you?
Very well,
Fine.
thank you.
Pleased to meet you.
Have a good trip to Cape Verde.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Did you have a good fly?
Yeah, not bad. I just
Okay.
arrived.
Oh, it's your baby?
My contraption.
Okay, nice.
Aerial photos are Stefan's area of expertise. He has photographed many islands from the air. He usually goes up in a helicopter, but there are none on Cape Verde. That's why he hired Richard with his fib. The Cape Verde Islands were formed over 100 million years ago. A number of them are still volcanically active. On the main island of Santiago, clouds and fog often roll over the mountains, but it seldom rains. The climate is warm and dry all year round. Vegetation is scarce and farming is difficult.
Okay, so we are now here at Tarrafal. Okay. So where do you want to go?
If possible, I want to go to Fogo after São Vicente and Santo Antão.
Okay.
What do you think about this?
Okay, well, it's perfectly possible to fly to Fogo. The problem is the wind is always coming this way.
You are sure?
Yeah, it's always the same. Because it's the trade winds. The wind goes from the Sahara to the Caribbean all the time. Okay? So we could fly to Fogo, but the machine goes very, very slowly. It's only 65 kilometers an hour. And if you have a 20-knot wind, that's 40-something kilometers an hour. So we would be coming back here at 20 kilometers an hour. And that's 100 kilometers. So it would be 5 hours to come back. There is a very, very strong wind all the time.
It could be difficult traveling around Cape Verde with a fib. The flying inflatable boat is suited to large, calm lakes. Using it here is a pioneering task. More than 500 years ago, Portuguese seafarers discovered the uninhabited islands in the Atlantic, and they made the Green Cape their biggest transshipping point for slaves. Today you will find many children here with green eyes and blonde hair. The Cape Verdeans are descended from West African slaves and their Portuguese owners. The country gained its independence in 1974, and it's now a democracy. As there is a shortage of jobs in the country, most Cape Verdeans live abroad. Their bank transfers home contribute to the economic growth. There's not much work in Tarrafal either. On the beach, one surfer has created his own work, voluntary for now. Kobungo teaches children how to surf and swim.
Hello, I'm Stefan. I'm taking photos for a book about Cape Verde. I heard that you're teaching young people to surf. Could I take part in the course along with the pupils? Just to see how you work, and then I take photos. Would that be okay? Sure, great. And how many pupils do you have?
About 40.
40, that's a lot. And how long have you been surfing?
For 10 years. I won the Tarrafal Championship 7 times. And the National Championship of Cape Verde once.
Nacional Cabo Verde.
What I try to achieve through photography is an exchange, to experience people's everyday life for an hour or half an hour. This is pretty important for my philosophy. Photography broadens my horizons. It enables me to relive many small moments from my childhood, just by being a photographer. The actual image is created at the end. It's actually of secondary importance to me. To me, these moments are like little pearls. And at the end of my life, I'd like to have a whole string of pearls. Okay, maybe that sounds a bit, you know, but it's my philosophy.
The following morning, Stefan hopes he can take his first photo flight today. The sea is quiet in Tarrafal Bay, but there's a light breeze as Richard is preparing the fib for takeoff.
Hi, Richard. Stefan, how are you? Do you think we can fly today? Well, I will try a test flight, maybe. It's quite on the limit. I will try a solo test flight. Okay. This is the first time we've put it together. And then we can make a decision if it's possible with 2 people.
With its large sail, the fib is very unstable on the water. Before the motor is running, a small gust of wind could be enough to tip it over. And off it goes. The test flight is very shaky. It looks dangerous for the pilot and the plane. Stefan is happy when Richard lands on the water soon after.
There are occasions when you're up there wishing you were down there, yeah, and this was one of them.
No flight today?
I don't think so, not in B+, no.
Okay, I understand.
You have seen...
The wind is very strong, the wave is very strong.
Yeah. So...
the next time?
Next time. The takeoff, that went okay, but as soon as you're in the air, it's very, very turbulent here. There's a strong wind and very turbulent.
We don't have good conditions today. The wind is getting stronger and stronger. The waves are too strong to get a good start.
So anyway, the machine is still intact, so we can have another go another time. But not today, I don't think.
At the moment, I'm quite pessimistic. I hope this will improve. I know that the weather on the Cape Verde Islands is not really right for flying with a machine like this, but I hope we'll be in calmer areas soon.
The following morning, they're ready. The wind has died down.
Okay, 8731, start.
India 8731, go ahead.
Confirm your altitude.
We will be not above 1,000 feet. The reason why my kind of microlight is so attractive is because I'm outside in the air and you can look, you get a fantastic field of view.
In the early morning, the wind is still mild. When the ground heats up later on, the air rises and causes turbulence, dangerous for the fib.
It's a bit like being on a motorbike. You can reach totally different places than with a normal airplane. It gives you a great sense of freedom.
It's a challenge to fly. It's very slow. It's a flying brick, really.
Earlier than planned, Richard prepares to land on the water. The propeller slashes a brake cable. The fib comes to a halt much too far out. With its large sail, it's unstable on the water, so the two men have to get to land as quickly as possible. Luckily, a number of fishermen are there to help.
The brake cable somehow came into the propeller, and that's that.
We were drifting in a strong current and had to get the rudders out quickly.
And if we'd had any wind, we would have been in real big trouble.
I proposed taking a rope and pulling the boat.
So Stefan had to swim in with the rope, and we pulled it in fast enough that we missed one of the big waves. So it was a bit of a narrow scrape.
For the inhabitants of Cidade Velha, the two adventurers and their flying dinghy are a real sensation.
I'd just come out of my house, and I see an airplane landing. I was delighted. I've seen parachutes landing here, but never an airplane, especially not one that can land on the water. Cidade Velha was the first capital city that the Portuguese founded on Cape Verde. Precisely 1 year ago, the town was named a World Heritage Site. This is being celebrated now, with music from a Batuque group. Batuque was the music of the women slaves of Cape Verde. Today, its energetic rhythms are part of the pop culture of Santiago. In Praia, meanwhile, Richard goes in search of a new brake cable for the Fib.
Have you got one of these?
No, we don't.
No?
No.
Okay.
This is very important.
No, we don't have one of those.
Hola.
Hello. My name's Stefan.
Je m'appelle Stéphane.
I'm Ana Paula.
I'd like to know more about the origins of this music.
This music is very important to us. It's part of our history. People like it, and we keep it alive, because it's our cultural heritage.
And where's this from? What's the origin of this instrument?
Quelle a été l'origine de cet instrument-là?
In the past, the slaves had nothing, not even clothing. So they used the drum on their chest. Later they got the idea of playing on cloth, which they gripped between their legs. However, now we've got these bags, and they sound even better. But these drums used to be made of cloth.
Bom dia.
I'm looking for a cable like this.
Oh,
very good. It's plastic coated.
That one? This is the one. All my life I've been messing around with mic lights and stuff, and I live on a farm, so you have to fix stuff. And so I can fix stuff, which is an advantage when you're on an expedition like this.
Local wisdom has it that for women, Batuque is the best remedy for grief and loneliness. Batuque, they say, can relieve the pain of separation due to emigration, being left by a partner, and death. Richard will only stop worrying when the Fib is running again. A test using a wall as a brake block will be the decider.
That's okay.
Tomorrow they plan to leave for the next island. In the hotel, Stefan assesses what he has done so far. He uses his photo printer to make initial prints during the trip.
Viewed from the outside, photography seems somewhat egotistical. You hide behind the camera, take your photo, and move on. But my photography is about an exchange. Photos can be a medium for a really powerful exchange.
Stefan does not just want to profit from the people that he photographs. He wants to give something back, even if it only has a symbolic value. He took photos of market saleswomen, and he gives them several prints before leaving the island.
Thank you.
This token of his gratitude is appreciated. Stefan has witnessed the same effect in many other countries.
What I really like about meeting strangers is this magical moment at the very beginning. At first there's shyness on both sides, then a game develops and a kind of complicity. This can lead to very interesting images.
The next stop on the itinerary is the island of São Vicente, which was the most important in Cape Verde during colonial times. At the port of Mindelo, goods traveling between Europe and America were transshipped. The inhabitants of Mindelo love melancholic music. Stefan has met a guitar maker whom he wants to photograph in his workshop today, together with his son. The little guitar, known as a cavaquinho, was brought here by the Portuguese. Its clear sound is typical for the local music, known as morna.
Music. That's the origin, the tradition of the culture of Cape Verde. It reflects precisely our tradition and our culture. This is the longing of the Cape Verdeans who leave in order to work overseas. People write about it. The lyrics they compose and the music that they play express precisely what the people are feeling. You can say that overcoming the longing for home, that's the music of the Cape Verdeans.
Saudade, longing, the underlying mood of the Cape Verdeans. Those living overseas long for their home. Those still here dream of faraway places. Stefan has arranged to meet some fishermen early in the morning to go out to sea with them.
How are you? Aha, a good fisherman.
Stefan has been especially looking forward to today's photo session because back home he goes fishing whenever he can. The men show him how they cut the bait here. It's a different method to the one used on the French Pacific island of New Caledonia that Stefan calls home. Today, they're going after the yellow parrotfish and the tasty garopa with its bright orange scales. Again and again, the fishermen hit their boat with a club.
We do this when we found the fish. This is what we call feeling. Lifting the mood and driving away the evil spirits. That's what we do.
And you can live well from fishing? Can you earn money with it?
Sure, we make some money. Him, and him, we do pretty well. Of course it depends. It depends on whether God helps us. If God helps us, our catch is good. If not, then we just go home again, which is also okay. And the next day we come back with more feeling.
God has given them enough fish for today. Time to go home again. In São Pedro, all the public activities take place on the beach. When dusk falls, the fresh catch is put on the barbecue. The fishermen throw a little party with delicious garopa in Stefan's honor.
That's good.
The grilled fish is washed down with sugarcane liquor, the national drink.
That's a really nice photo.
As you can see, they don't have many possessions. There are stones, there's sand, but what they do have in abundance are human riches. And they show this with their hospitality, or morabeza, as they call it. I find this very moving, because this has disappeared completely from our modern lifestyle, with just a few exceptions. And it's interesting to rediscover it here. And nobody is keeping count. They don't expect you to give anything in return. It's just how they approach life. And I think it's great.
C'est une philosophie de vie, c'est leur philosophie de vie et j'aime ça.
São Vicente is a particularly windy island, but today, early in the morning, the two men risk a photographic fly-around. Mindelo Bay. For half a century, this harbor town was an important stopping point for trading ships going to West Africa, India, and South America. Coal and water supplies were replenished here, and the sailors enjoyed the wine and music. The town became a cosmopolitan meeting place. However, during economic crises, there were famines that drove many people into exile. The wind picks up over the bay, and flying in the fib is increasingly shaky. Richard decides not to fly back to the airport, but to land here on the beach in front of the town.
Muchas gracias. On a l'impression d'être dans un checker.
You feel like you're sitting in a shaker, and the light over the town is not good. There's a lot of shadow and the conditions are not great. We were being shaken up the whole time. It wasn't stable at all. Sure, we were able to fly, but it wasn't so good for taking photos. It was super if you wanted to get thrown all over the place, but that's got more to do with Disneyland than aerial photography. Well, I don't know.
Well, we've shown that you can fly the fib in South Vincente, but it's not very. It wasn't very pleasant, really, because again, you still got this quite high wind coming over the mountains, and over here, didn't dare go anywhere nearer to the tan because it just starts getting really turbulent as the wind comes over these hills.
I think I'll take the bus back. When does the bus go? I want to take the bus.
Good.
Stefan uses the warm evenings to think about the motifs he still needs for his photo book. He's had one scene in mind for quite a while, and tomorrow he wants to make it happen.
I'm trying to recreate a scene that I've seen many times, an evening mood, known in France as between the dog and the wolf. When the day is on the wane and the night is coming, it's when people often meet to drink a glass and play cards.
In a small side street, Stefan wants to set his photo up like a director. There's an oil lamp to light the scene, but it's on its last legs and finally gives up. Stefan wonders where he's going to get a new one. Maybe the neighbors can help them.
Hello, Babel. How's it going? Have you got a petroleum lamp for a scene we're shooting?
No, I don't.
You've got a lamp like that at home.
In 5 minutes, I'm calling the whole thing off. Yes, just like that.
You're not getting my lamp.
Just for 2 minutes.
No!
Okay, I'm sorry, Babel. All right, fine, we can all go home.
A Molotov cocktail Cape Verde style is brought out to save the scene.
Okay, you play cards, but we need someone to lean against the door. Everything is ready now. Later we'll have to arrange a few small details. Children playing, for example. But now we have to wait for the light. The scene is not so visually interesting as yet. It needs the right light.
Slowly, evening falls over the alleyways of Mindelo.
Well, I'd like you to do it like this, you see? Play short passes to one another, nice and slow. The ball has to go up like this. No, small movements. Nice and gently.
Vas-y, hé. Les enfants.
The problem is that it's always frustrating when you have an image in your head that you're trying to create. You want reality to match your imagination, but to get it exactly right, you'd really have to paint pictures rather than take photos.
In the town center of Mindelo, Richard has discovered a monument that he really wants to show Stefan. The Stone Eagle honors 2 Portuguese pioneers of flying, who were the first to travel to South America by plane. Stefan realizes that the fib has not been given a name yet.
It would be nice to find a name for the fib, and I've got a good idea. In New Caledonia, there's a bird that can't fly. It's called the kagoo, and it's our emblem. We don't fly very often either, so we could name the fib kagoo.
No.
The fib flies very, very well. If we need a name, I suggest lilac-breasted roller. That's an African bird. It's purple, and it flies like this.
Well, I prefer fib to that. It's much shorter. I think we could write your name on one side and mine on the other. And each flies with his own side. No problem. You fly and I'll stay on the ground with my side.
On est d'accord? Okay. Do that. Yeah.
Vous voulez que deal?
The ferry to the neighboring island of Santo Antão takes people, bananas, and sugarcane across the strait. Today there's a flying dinghy on the loading list. This attracts the interest of the Cape Verde Customs. Where is the permit from the Port Authority? The captain confirms that he sees no problem with taking the fib, but there is no official permit on paper. Luckily, in Cape Verde, many problems can be solved with a friendly word. The customs official allows the fib aboard.
Why are you not flying?
Well, the wind is very strong as usual for Cape Verde Islands, perfect for windsurfing, kite surfing, flying kites, keeping cool, but no good for microlighting. But sometimes we just get enough that we can just about fly, but it would be right on the limit to fly there.
The crossing from Mindelo to the Isle of Santo Antão only takes about an hour. Santo Antão is the most westerly of the Cape Verde Islands. It has an airport, but it hasn't been used for years. Richard and Stefan hope they might be able to use it for the fib. Santo Antão is also known as the Island of Mountains. Over the centuries, it has been the refuge of castaways, fugitives, and exiles. The northeast trade wind regularly blows clouds and fog against the rocks, making the island look like something from a pirate film. The closed Santo Antão airport is still being watched over by its faithful security man Francisco. Richard politely asks for special permission to take off, and Francisco gets in touch with the head office.
Yes, some gentlemen have arrived. Have they got permission to use this airport? Yes? From Mr. Mundo Santos, the director. They've got a small plane and they're making an expedition. Yes, French and German. Or Japanese. He's English. And a Frenchman. So they have permission. They can take off.
Excelente. Muito obrigado, senhor.
With its strong crosswind, the Santo Antão airport has always presented a challenge to pilots. 20 years ago, rain and poor visibility caused a terrible accident. A plane from São Vicente was shattered against a rock face. The airport was closed down. Francisco misses the airport's golden age and is happy that something's finally happening again. He suggests using the former fire brigade garage as a hangar for the FIB.
It's great. We've got our own personal airport, and the airport superintendent, Francisco, is one of those people who, I don't know whether he's ever been in an aeroplane or whether he's been around airports for years and years, and it'd be great to take him for a ride. I'd love to take him for a ride round to see his airport from the air.
In the green valleys of Santo Antão, the principal crop is sugarcane. Small distilleries produce the national drink of Cape Verde, grog, a strong sugarcane spirit. Richard, who runs a farm at home and is a passionate hobbyist, would like to know how grog is made.
I can show you how it's made.
Oh, excelente.
The juice comes out over there.
Bien, attention. Careful of this.
We make the liquor with this.
Si. Okay. C'est là donc tu mets le.
And water runs along here for cooling.
And there? That's the finished grog?
The electric sugarcane press is a Brazilian model from the 60s. However, using it requires a lot of care and skill.
It's a bit too strong, but not bad. Want to try it? No, that's mine. Come on, give it a proper tasting. Down the hatch. How strong is it? 40? 20?
22.
22? That's not so strong at all.
After visiting the fermentation plant and further rounds of tasting, the grog begins to take effect. Stéphane and Richard decide they ought to head home.
Premier décollage, il va partir.
The men have finally decided to give the FIB a name. They stick to the plan. On one side, it's the kagu, after a New Caledonian bird that can hardly fly. On the other side, lilac-breasted roller, an African bird with an unusual flying style.
Yeah, that one. Ah, it's good. Okay. At least this side's good.
No, I prefer the other side. Thank you. Good job.
Francisco has worked at the Santo Antão airport since 1984. His old boss always told him one day something big will happen here again, you'll see. And that day has come. Francisco will see his world from above for the first time ever.
Casta de amigues, perfeitas cavaquel. Na casa marimlim, inventa-se viola. Casta de amigues, perfeitas cavaquel. Ai, é bem feito. Perfeitos cafetotes, vocês vão já levar por si. Sou da ai, é bem feito. Perfeitos cafetotes, vocês vão já levar por si. Sou da ai, é bem feito. Perfeitos cafetotes, vocês vão já levar por si. Sou da
Long live Francisco! Thank you, everybody. That was a lovely trip. I really enjoyed it. Ponta do Sol is a beautiful place. It is. Sadly, there was no time to buy presents for the children.
Before the trip is over, Stefan wants to visit the Paul Valley once more. He really likes the raw beauty of the hilly landscape. Two women are preparing the national dish of Cape Verde, cachupa. First, corn has to be mashed. This job requires a drummer's feel for rhythm.
Bon dia. Bon dia. Bon dia. Bon dia.
That looks difficult.
Je peux essayer?
Can I try it?
Essayer?
Si.
Allez. Rythme un petit peu. Allez. Je vais aller là. 1, 2, 3.
Beginners have a hard time with the pilau, the traditional wooden mortar.
Oh là!
Oh, I'm sorry.
Desculpa.
For cachupa, you take garlic, manioc, onions, olive oil, water, beans, white beans, fava beans, pea beans, and green beans.
The secret of good cachupa is breaking the corn kernels out of their shells. This can take hours. The national dish is eaten in the morning, at midday, and in the evening. The Cape Verdeans never tire of the tasty stew. It's actually the food of the poor, but everyone here loves it. Cachupa rica, the rich cachupa, also contains meat or rice along with all the beans. Preparing good cachupa can easily take 4 hours, but for Stefan, the wait is worth it.
Thank you.
Nada. Welcome.
Muito bom.
Very good.
Put the lid on, then add a little wine, a little of this water, and then it'll be good. It'll be a really smooth cachupa.
Bon, c'est un goût assez basique, enfin assez simple.
It's a simple taste, but I was expecting it to be tougher.
Beaucoup plus dur.
When you see the corn, the kernels, you expect something much harder, but it's very tender and well cooked. And the fact that it's cooked with charcoal gives the cachupa a great taste. And when you're walking a lot, cachupa gives you a lot of energy. When you see the mountains here on Cape Verde, especially on Santo Antão, you wonder how the people can walk for kilometers with all the steep hills. And I think one of the secrets is cachupa. It contains a lot of energy, and it's really delicious.
Stefan and Richard say goodbye to the Cape Verde Islands and their inhabitants. Their assignment on the windy archipelago wasn't always an easy one, but on this they do agree. It was worth it.